everything.
No goals, Turkish.
I'm worried about everything, bro. Strikers, midfielders, defenders, goalkeeper, manager, director of football, CEO, owner. It's all worrying. It's all worrying. So you ask me, am I worried about the strikers? I am. But am I more worried about the strikers than the midfielders, or the midfielders than the manager, or the manager? No, I'm not. We're always going to be worried about something if we don't start moving correctly as a club off the pitch. If they continue starting seasons on the back foot, without plugging the necessary gaps you need to plug, without prioritizing your needs at the back end of the last season, going into this one, we will continue falling flat on our faces. We will just continue it every season. I said 0 out of 9 points is very realistic moving into this season. I said our only chance of points would probably come at Brentford. That was quickly dismissed with a 2-0 win for Brentford. And then Chelsea and Man City are formalities, the European champions and the Premier League champions. All I expected to see was a performance, some fight.
So is it unfair to be this angry, considering you knew it was going to kind of come this way? Is it unfair to say that, or is it, or because you said you expected it?
Oh, I'm angry because I love the club. I expected it. I'm fed up as well. Sometimes I come here and I've got no fight, no like gas. I'm just here talking, and people are like, Turkish is boring and this and that. Whatever. I'm not an entertainer. I'm an Arsenal fan with a few followers. I'm not here to entertain. And then sometimes I'm frustrated. Sometimes I see, the fans clapping the players at the end, and I'm thinking, what are you guys doing? You think the owner doesn't see that and thinks to himself, well, look at the loyalty amongst them, amongst my customers. Because we're not fans to Kroenke. We're not fans to the establishment at Arsenal Football Club right now. We are customers. And then our manager and director of football stick up for the owner. All we are is customers to these men.
Obviously, we have Norwich next, Turkish. Like, do you see anything changing, anything getting better? Is there any hope, anything you see? Like Norwich, we're expected to win that game. Do you have any high hopes for that?
Oh, Norwich got banged 5-0. Last week, we got banged 5-0. This week, it's the battle of the teams that got banged 5-0 against City, innit? And in all honesty, we'll beat Norwich, probably. We'll probably, get a point or beat Burnley. Then we go into Tottenham and we face the same difficulties we faced today and against Chelsea. That Tottenham are not Man City or Chelsea, but Tottenham have world-class talent. They kept hold of Harry Kane amidst all of the new stadium and whatnot. But when we moved into a new stadium, we had to sell every single good player we had till we're left with what we're left with. But that was the excuse. Tottenham move into a new stadium, they break their transfer record. There's no fans due to COVID. And then they keep hold of Kane amongst the 150 million rumoured bid. But we believe this, club, when they told us we need to move to compete. We believed them when they said we need to sell players to pay off the stadium. We believed all of that. Now, what are we going to believe in next? We can't believe in another process that comes from the same guys, essentially, that fed us all the other processes and projects in the last 15 years. How are we going to believe? I can't go into a season believing with the same owners unless they change their ways. The only way they would have showed they changed their ways if we went into the season with Conte.
But you're not saying with the 129 million, is that not showing?
129 million in this market is nothing. And that's not me, being negative. 130 million to Chelsea, Man City, United, and even Liverpool spent 150 on 2 players, Van Dijk and Alisson. Like, these clubs spend 100+ mil on 1 or 2 players, and we're trying to catch them.
And they prove their worth, those players as well.
We're trying to close the gap on teams that are at that level now. They've done all of the dirty work over the last 10 years. They've managed to run their clubs in a way where they've managed to achieve titles, European titles for Chelsea and Liverpool, and ambition and hope and belief for their fan base. That's the only thing I ask for. I'm not asking for Premier League. I'm not asking for Champions League. What I'm asking for is to believe again, to hope.
What is that? What does that look like? What does that look like? Just challenge. What does that look like?
Bro, that looks like a club running in the right way. We know what's happened to us over the last 15. We know what Kroenke is. But why do we always go in acting like if we're positive about it, things might change? Why do we go in acting as if you can't say nothing negative or nothing deemed negative, because that's a big problem at the club? I wouldn't be able to say nothing deemed negative if the club wasn't doing this. Like I said, it's 10 years on from 8-2. There was no AFTV around that time when we got smashed 8-2. There was nothing like it. But here we are now, still the same old story, even worse. We're out of top 4, out of top 6. 3 games into the season, 3 L's. Yes, we beat West Brom's youth team 6-0. So what?
I think people want. Therefore, some people might say Turkish needs to be positive to get behind the players. You know, it will make them play better.
I'll tell you what, Cecil. Let me ask you something, yeah, because this is my way of getting behind. I love Saka. I love Emile Smith-Rowe, Martinelli, Tierney, Partey. I like, Lokonga even. Ben White, I don't know about yet. Gabriel. A lot of the signings made in the last 2 years, I'm fully behind. But in my opinion, me fully supporting them is demanding what they need around them. How could I be supporting them by saying, leave them alone, hey lend, or they're young? That's not me supporting them. That's me giving excuses. Support them by building a squad around them where they'll want to be here in 8 years, in 10 years, where they're still here and they are now the leadership group and the new young players are looking up to them. But no, Saka's going to be on 2 years to go come 2022 summer. Problems.
Yeah, not just Saka. Like you said, Emile Smith-Rowe, other teams going to be winning. They're going to see that and think, I want a piece of that. And when they go, all that positive get behind them and they're young, it means nothing by that time.
We've done it before. We've got behind youth before. It meant nothing. We've got behind projects before. It's meant nothing. So, how many times can we get behind things that this board have manipulated before we realise that they're just talking a bag of shit all the time?
Facts. All right, to end, Arteta's
finished, bro. Yeah? Kolasinac starting. You actively looked to sell him all summer. Now he's starting. You told us Saliba
didn't have a bad game.
He didn't have a bad game, but he's had many others that I can talk to you about. Saliba should be at this club. You can't tell me you're loaning at Saliba. Then you have a back three that came from the Wenger era. Chambers, Holden and Kolasinac was signed by Arsene Wenger and was starting the 21-22 season with them three. Okay, with Gabriel and Ben White injured, but them three still in the side, still featuring. We needed to sell Xhaka this year. We wanted to sell Xhaka this year. We couldn't. He got a new contract and the captain's armband and a red card add to it today. His first one of the season. I say first one because you expect more. Kolasinac starting. We tried to sell him in the next 2 days. Kolasinac will go. But he's starting for us against Man City. Why do we buy Tavares? Why can't you tuck Tierney in and put Tavares out on the left wing back position?